The night was electric. The chandeliers of the Grand Imperial Hotel sparkled like falling stars. Laughter floated through the golden hall, and music thumped gently beneath the chatter of Karachi's richest elite. Expensive perfume mingled with the scent of champagne and candle wax, creating a haze of luxury and arrogance. Ryan Malik stood at the center of it all, tall, impeccably dressed, every inch the image of power and money. His black suit hugged his broad shoulders, his silver watch glinted under the lights, and his confident smirk was the kind that could silence a room. People didn't just talk to him, they watched him. After all, Ryan Malik wasn't just any man. He was a millionaire at 30, the owner of Malik Enterprises, the name behind half the skyscrapers on the city's skyline. But behind that charm and fortune lay a man who didn't believe in love, only in winning. At the bar, his friends gathered, the usual circle of wealth and ego. Ahmed, his oldest friend, raised a glass and grinned. "Ryan, my man, I've seen you close billion-dollar deals. But you, handle a strong woman? I doubt it." The group erupted in laughter. Ryan tilted his glass lazily, swirling the dark liquid inside. "What's that supposed to mean?" he asked, his tone smooth but sharp. Ahmed smirked. "It means all your girls are the same. Models, socialites, the ones who worship your money. You've never met a woman who'd tell you no to your face." "Because I don't give them a reason to," Ryan shot back. The laughter grew louder. Someone else chimed in, "Then prove it. Find someone who doesn't care about your name, your car, your credit card. Someone wild, unpredictable, someone who can't be bought." Ryan leaned back, amused. "And what exactly do you want me to do with this wild creature?" Ahmed grinned wickedly. "Make her fall in love with you. Marry her within a month, or admit you're all talk." Ryan's jaw tightened. His pride didn't allow him to walk away from a challenge, especially not one made in public. He raised his glass. "Fine, I'll do it. Within a month, I'll have her wrapped around my finger. You'll all see." The friends cheered, clinking glasses, unaware that this careless moment would alter Ryan Malik's life forever. That's when she walked in. The doors of the ballroom opened, and a ripple of whispers spread through the crowd. A girl, no, a storm, entered. She wasn't like the women who usually attended such events. While everyone else wore glittering gowns, she walked in with ripped jeans, a white shirt knotted at the waist, and a leather jacket slung casually over her shoulder. Her long wavy hair framed her sun-kissed face, and her eyes burned with a quiet fire that didn't seek attention. It commanded it. People turned to stare. Some whispered disapproval, others curiosity. She didn't care. She walked straight to the drinks counter, ignoring the judging glances, and asked for orange juice instead of champagne. When the waiter hesitated, she looked him dead in the eye. "You heard me. Juice. No alcohol, no bubbles, no nonsense." Ryan, watching from across the room, couldn't help but smirk. Interesting. He approached her, his confidence radiating like perfume. "You don't exactly blend in, do you?" he said smoothly. She turned, meeting his gaze with calm indifference. "That's the point," she replied. Ryan chuckled. "Ryan Malik," he said, extending a hand. She glanced at his hand but didn't take it. "Good for you," she said flatly. He blinked, slightly thrown off. "Most people recognize me. Most people care," she said, sipping her juice. "I don't." That one sentence hit him harder than any insult ever could. He tilted his head, intrigued. "So what brings you to a millionaire's party if you're not impressed by millionaires?" "My cousin works here," she said. "She begged me to come. I told her I'd rather watch paint dry, but she insisted. And here I am, watching grown men compete over who has the shinier car." Ryan grinned. "Ouch, you're not holding back." "I don't sugarcoat," she said simply. "People choke on the truth when it's sweet." He laughed, genuinely this time. "You've got quite the mouth," she smirked. "And you've got quite the ego, Mr. Empty Wallet in a suit." Ryan nearly choked on his drink. "Excuse me? You heard me. You look like someone who hides his emptiness behind expensive fabric. Money isn't confidence, you know." For the first time in a long time, Ryan Malik was speechless. Nobody talked to him like that. Nobody dared. And yet, instead of anger, something unexpected flickered in his chest. curiosity. "Zara," she said finally, offering her hand with a smirk. "Since you're dying to know my name." He took her hand, firm, strong, unapologetic. "Zara," he repeated softly. "I'll remember that." "I hope not," she said. "I'm not one of your collectible names." That night, as Zara disappeared into the crowd, Ryan couldn't take his eyes off her. She was chaos wrapped in confidence, rebellion disguised as beauty. She didn't care about his world, and that made him want her even more. Later that night, Ryan's friends found him by the balcony, lost in thought. Ahmed nudged him. "Found your wild one yet?" Ryan smirked slowly. "I think I just did." They laughed, assuming it was just part of the game. But deep inside, Ryan felt something strange stir, something that didn't feel like a game at all. When he got home, he couldn't sleep. Her voice echoed in his mind. Money isn't confidence. Her eyes had seen through him, stripped away the armor he'd built for years. He'd met hundreds of women, but none had ever made him feel seen. He didn't realize it then, but Zara wasn't just another challenge. She was the storm his soul didn't know it needed. From that night on, Ryan Malik, the man who believed everything had a price, was about to learn the value of something money could never buy. And somewhere in the dark, the bet he made out of arrogance began turning into the love story that would rewrite his heart forever. The next few weeks were a war between Ryan's pride and his heart. At first, he treated it like any other business challenge. A woman who couldn't be bought? He'd simply find another way. So he did what he did best: spend. He sent Zara bouquets of rare orchids that cost more than a month's rent in her world. She sent them right back with a note that said, "Flowers die. Try honesty next time." He invited her to luxury dinners at five-star hotels. She ordered the cheapest dish on the menu and tipped the waiter half of what he'd spent. He even sent her a designer dress once, just because he thought she'd look perfect in it. She returned it folded neatly with a small sticky note. "If you want to impress me, wear humility." Each rejection stung, not because of pride, but because he couldn't understand her. Every woman before Zara had melted at his charm, his money, his looks. But Zara, she treated him like he was invisible, and that was exactly what made her unforgettable. He started showing up at her art studio just to talk. She worked with kids from poor neighborhoods, teaching them how to paint and express emotions through color. The walls were splattered with laughter and chaos. Ryan had never seen anything like it. Beauty without perfection, joy without price tags. One afternoon, as he stood by the door, watching her laugh with the children, something in him shifted. The millionaire who once measured success in profits now found himself measuring happiness in her smile. "You're staring," she said, catching him. Ryan grinned. "Just appreciating art." Zara rolled her eyes. "You mean me?" "Maybe," he admitted, smirking. She shook her head, amused. "You're impossible. And yet you still let me come here," he teased. "Because the kids like you," she said, folding her arms. "They think you're funny." "Funny?" he asked, pretending to be offended. "Not charming? Handsome?" Zara laughed softly. "You're too used to hearing those words. You need new ones." That was the day Ryan picked up a paintbrush for the first time in his life. He made a mess of colors, ruined 3 canvases, and accidentally painted his own sleeve. The kids laughed so hard that even Zara joined in. For a man who lived in a world of marble floors and silent meetings, that messy room became his favorite place on earth. From then on, things changed quietly. Ryan began skipping business dinners to visit the art studio. He drove his car to the old part of the city just to buy food for the kids. He even learned how to cook after Zara challenged him to make something without hiring a chef. The result was a half-burnt omelet and a full-blown laugh that echoed through her small kitchen. It was the first time Zara saw him as something more than a spoiled millionaire. "You're not bad when you're not pretending," she said, tasting his failed dish. He smiled softly. "Then maybe I'll stop pretending." And he meant it. Each passing day blurred the line between the game and reality. The bet that once felt exciting now haunted him. He couldn't tell his friends that he'd stopped playing, that he didn't care about winning anymore. Because what if Zara found out how it all began? What if the truth destroyed everything he'd built with her? Late at night, he'd stare at the ceiling, remembering her laughter, the way her hair fell over her face when she painted, the way she argued like her words carried fire. And every time he thought about the bet, guilt twisted deeper into his chest. He was falling hard. And for the first time, Ryan Malik, the man who controlled everything, was terrified of losing. One evening, as the sun bled orange across the city, Ryan took Zara to the beach. It wasn't one of those private luxury spots. It was crowded, noisy, alive. Kids played cricket in the sand, couples walked hand in hand, and the air smelled of sea salt and roasted corn. Zara looked around, surprised. "You, at a public beach? What happened to your imported resorts?" Ryan smiled, slipping off his shoes. "They don't have sunsets like this." She watched him for a moment, her eyes softening. "You're changing." "Maybe I finally met someone worth changing for," he said quietly. She didn't reply, but the silence between them felt full, like an answer that didn't need words. They sat by the water, talking about dreams. Zara told him about her late father, a school teacher who'd believed kindness could fix the world. Ryan told her about growing up poor, about how his father's failures had made him obsessed with money. "You think money gives you control," she said, "but it also cages you." He looked at her, realizing how right she was. "Then maybe I'm ready to break free." Zara smiled faintly. "Then start with the truth." That word, truth, hit him like lightning. Because the truth was ugly. It was a bet, a lie, a game that had become something real. But he couldn't lose her. Not now. Not when he'd finally found the only thing money couldn't buy. The next morning, his friends called him. Ahmed's voice echoed through the phone, mocking and loud. "So Ryan, how's the project? You've got 2 weeks left before the month's over. Don't tell me the great Ryan Malik can't handle one girl?" Ryan forced a laugh. "Relax, it's under control." "Good," Ahmed said, "because the boys are already preparing the wedding gift." The call ended, but Ryan's chest tightened. Wedding. He'd never even imagined marriage before Zara, and now that it was part of the bet, it felt like poison. Days later, he met Zara at the same beach under a silver moon. His heart raced as he took her hand. "Zara," he said softly, "would you ever marry someone like me?" She smiled faintly. "Someone like you?" "Yeah," he said. "Someone who's made mistakes, someone who's learning what love means." Zara looked into his eyes for a long moment. "If that someone is real, maybe I would." Ryan's world stopped. He didn't hear the waves, didn't see the moon, only her. When she said yes a week later, everyone thought he'd won the bet. His friends cheered, money exchanged hands, and Ryan forced a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Because deep inside, he knew the truth. He hadn't won anything. He'd already lost, not to the bet, but to the woman who made him believe in love for the first time. And though Zara didn't know it yet, the lie he'd built everything on was about to break them both. The night smelled of roses and rain. Outside the villa, the ocean whispered against the rocks, and faint music from the reception still echoed in the distance. Crystal lights flickered through the open balcony doors, scattering reflections across the ivory walls. It should have been perfect, every detail chosen by the city's best planner. Every guest praising the fairy tale ending of Ryan Malik and Zara Shah. But inside their candlelit suite, silence hung heavy, thicker than perfume. Ryan stood by the window, staring at the horizon where the sea melted into darkness. His tie hung loose, his shirt half unbuttoned, and his hands trembled slightly as he held a glass of untouched champagne. The man who once conquered boardrooms now looked like a frightened boy. Behind him, Zara sat quietly on the edge of the bed, her wedding veil folded beside her, her bangles still jingling faintly every time she moved. The light touched her face gently, highlighting the calm in her eyes, a calm that frightened him more than anger ever could. He drew a breath that felt like it scraped his chest. Zara. His voice cracked. "There's something I have to tell you." She looked up, waiting. He turned, meeting her gaze at last. "This marriage, it didn't start the way you think." Her brows lifted slightly. He forced himself to continue. "It started as a bet," he said, the words falling heavy and slow. "That night at the party, my friends dared me to make a rebellious girl fall for me. I thought it would be easy. I thought you were just another challenge. But then," his voice broke, "then you changed everything. You made me feel things I didn't even believe existed. You made me want to be better." He stepped closer, desperate now. "I swear, Zara, it stopped being a game the moment I fell for you. I was going to tell you before the wedding. I tried, but I was scared. Scared I'd lose you." The silence after his confession was unbearable. He waited for the storm, anger, tears, accusations, but none came. Zara simply looked at him, her eyes glistening under the soft golden light. "I know," she whispered. Ryan froze. "What?" She smiled sadly. "I found out days ago." The words hit him harder than any slap could have. "How?" Zara rose slowly, her white dress rustling softly against the carpet. "Ahmed called you one evening while we were together. You didn't notice I heard the word bet. Later I asked a mutual friend. The rest was easy to guess." She took a small step closer, her voice steady. "At first I wanted to walk away. I told myself you were just another rich man playing with people's feelings. But then I remembered everything I'd seen in you, the way you painted with the kids, the way you helped that old street vendor fix his stall, the way you listened when no one else did." She looked down, fighting tears. "That man wasn't born from a bet, Ryan. That was you. The real you, and that's the man I married." Ryan's throat tightened. "Zara, you should have hated me." She shook her head gently. "Love isn't about punishment. It's about choice, and I chose to forgive before you even confessed." Her words tore him open. He sank to his knees before her, emotion shaking his entire body. "You don't understand," he whispered. "I don't deserve you." Zara smiled through her tears. "Maybe not. But you've already earned me." She reached out and touched his face. Her fingers were warm, trembling slightly, tracing the outline of a man who had once been lost. For a moment, time stood still. The world outside vanished, leaving only two souls tangled between regret and grace. "Zara," he said again, voice heavy with disbelief. "How can you forgive so easily?" "Because I saw the man behind the mask," she replied. "You built walls of pride around your heart." "I just knocked until you opened the door." He pulled her into his arms, holding her like a man who had just been given a second life. For a long time, neither of them spoke. The wind moved through the curtains, carrying the scent of the sea, mingling with the faint hum of distant music. When she finally looked up, her eyes were filled with something deeper than love. Trust. "There's one more thing you should know," she said softly. Ryan looked at her, his heartbeat loud in his ears. "I've never been with anyone before," she whispered. "I waited for the man who'd love me for who I am, not what I have or what I give. I thought I might never find him. But then you came." Ryan's breath caught. The weight of her innocence, her honesty, her quiet courage, it crushed him and healed him all at once. He lowered his forehead to hers, whispering, "I don't deserve this purity." "You deserve a chance," she said. "That's enough for tonight." He kissed her forehead gently, almost reverently. The world outside faded, the laughter, the fireworks, the noise of celebration, all replaced by the slow rhythm of two hearts learning forgiveness. They spent the night not in passion, but in truth, talking, laughing softly, rediscovering the simplicity of just being. The millionaire who once thought emotions were weaknesses now learned that vulnerability was the strongest thing a man could offer. As dawn crept through the curtains, painting the room in shades of gold and rose, Ryan lay beside Zara, watching her breathe. Her hair spilled across the pillow like spilled ink, and he realized something he never had before. Money could buy walls, but love built homes. He reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You know," he murmured, "I made a fortune chasing success. But tonight, I feel rich for the first time." Zara smiled sleepily. Then keep that fortune safe. I will, he said softly, because it's you. Outside, the first light of morning touched the sea. The waves rose and fell, washing away the remnants of the night, just as her love washed away the last of his guilt. The bet that had started as pride ended as redemption. Ryan Malek, the man who once believed he could buy anything, had finally learned that the most valuable thing in life was freely given: forgiveness. As the sun climbed higher, he whispered the words he had never said to anyone before. "Thank you for saving me." Zara opened her eyes, meeting his with a quiet smile. "No, Ryan, you saved yourself. I just showed you the way." He pulled her close, their fingers intertwining like a promise. And in that simple, wordless moment, both knew the truth. The bet had brought them together, but love had made them whole. That morning, Ryan Malek didn't wake as a millionaire. He woke as a man finally rich in the only currency that mattered: her heart.